What's going on, party people? Happy Thursday to ya. People still getting the vid out there. Still out there. Dang thing. Mess some stuff up for me tomorrow, but hopefully everybody gets better. Stay safe out there, folks. Want to talk about this because the common, yesterday we talked about consensus, understanding sentiment with just the average potential home buyer or home seller, sort of the information that they get, these little bite-sized niblets from the media, and they kind of take it and run with it. And what we're trying to do here is be a lot more tactful than that, a lot more researched than that. And being on the ground level as loan officer, NMLS 155010, Derrick Evans here, VA Home Loan Specialist, you get to see things from a different perspective. So I'm looking at data. I have my sources. We're going to look at some numbers today. We're going to look at rates today. I'm going to go through some things. And one of the things that's sort of a common talk track out there for, let's just call it buyers who are punting. So if you're a buyer and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to punt. I don't want this market. I'm out.
Hated it.
I'm going to take my chances with rentals. I'm going to sit it out. I'm going to wait for lower prices. I think it's coming. If you're one of those people, it's probably because you've heard rates are up, inventory's coming. Meet Kevin has been saying these things. And that means that the housing market's going to crash. It has to, right? I mean, if it costs so much more per month and all these people are now going to rush to sell because they think the party's over, just remember your boy has been telling you all these things are going to happen exactly as they've happened so far. Even the interest rate chart, which I'll get to here in a second, exactly as expected. The reality here is that we knew this would take place. As soon as rates started getting to a certain point, we knew that that would put a pinch on things, that would cause things to change a little bit, and when the market would need to sort of catch up, it would cause more inventory, it would cause some buyers to exit. And so has it been something catastrophic? Is it the beginning of something catastrophic? We're going to look at that. We're going to look at mortgage bonds. We're going to look at mortgage rates. We're going to look at a bunch of data today. So let me go ahead and get myself out the way, and let's take a look at this. Okay. So home listings suddenly jump. Just notice the wording here. What's the idea behind this wording? Little shock and all. And notice the assumption too. Home listings suddenly jump as sellers worry they may miss out on the red hot housing market. That's pretty presumptive, yeah? I mean, that's awfully presumptuous to speculate as to why sellers are putting their homes on the market. I don't know of anyone who trades their house like a stock. Oh, well, prices are high. We should sell, honey. That's just not how those conversations go. It's, hey, we need to be in a different school district. Hey, this is going to be closer to my work. Hey, there's bigger things going on than exactly what the prices are of homes. But let's just look at what Diana Olick said here. Supply of homes for sale jumped 9% last week compared to the same week 1 year ago. 10%. That's not really that much, to be honest with you. And we're gonna look at the numbers for San Diego in a second. Real estate brokerage Redfin also reported that new listings rose nearly twice as fast in the 4 weeks ending May 15 as they did during the same period a year ago. Okay, so for that 4-week period, new listings rose at nearly double the pace. So that's kind of a play on numbers. But remember, we had no inventory a year ago. So the numbers were all really small. And so if a certain zip code had 8 houses for sale, and then all of a sudden now it has 24 houses for sale, they're going to tell you that it's up 300%. Inventory is up 300% in the zip code. But really it's still 30% of its normal. So that's what we have to really pay attention to. What is more normal? Where are we now in comparison to that? Because when you just look at percentages of year-over-year gains and losses, it can lead to a very misleading place. It just can. Pending home sales, a measure of signed contracts on existing homes, dropped nearly 4% in April, month to month, and we're down just over 9% from April 2021. This is according to NAR. By the way, the reason why they said this, sellers worry they may miss out on the red hot housing market. Spoiler alert, if you read the articles I give you. Redfin chief economist Daryl Fairweather said that rising mortgage rates have caused the housing market to shift, and now home sellers are in a hurry to find a buyer before the demand weakens further. So he's just kind of assuming. We don't know if this is true or not. This is why the headlines are just not that valuable, because we really don't know if it's true. This is someone's opinion. This probably should be quote in quotes up here. But, you know, it is what it is. You don't get perfect journalism these days. So let's look at the actual inventory. Can we do that? Can we take a look at actual inventory in San Diego, California? Let's look. Well, first of all, this is Altos Research, by the way. Love this site for getting a pulse in the market. We have seen that the market action index has decreased to 91, which is still a strong seller's market, but it was at 93, and it actually peaked at 95, I believe. Where is it over here? It peaked at 95, and that was in April, late April. So like a month ago, we peaked at 95. So it's come in quite a bit, and the market has settled down a little bit. By the way, this is all good. Every single thing that I'm seeing, the single thing that I'm saying is all good for buyers. All of it. There isn't anything that's bad. And we're going to go through some of these things. So market action index is down. Well, let's look at inventory. This is the big story, right? There's the graph of inventory going back 3 years. Does it look like inventory is spiking to you? Because really, even if we just go with the 7-day average here, 485 homes, San Diego, California, that right there, okay, it's basically this line. So if you go back to November 2020, we're finally back up to where inventory levels were then, and that was during COVID times. I mean, if this graph went back further, you would see that this number should be like way up here, you know, like way up between 1,000 and 2,000. So make it 500, but what are they going to tell you? What are you going to hear? What are people going to see? See, that's what matters, because that helps create the sentiment. I just want you to know the truth. The truth is they're going to tell you that, oh, well, here, let's look. Okay, so the 7-day average was 232, and now it's 485. That's double. So you're going to hear them say inventory has doubled over the last 3 months in San Diego. Number of houses for sale has doubled. That's the kind of narrative you're going to hear. You're going to hear, and while that data is accurate, does it really matter if it's doubled? What really matters is how many homes are there for sale and how many buyers are there. That's the only thing that matters.
Check, please.
Exactly. Okay. I mean, does anything else matter? Does the percentage gain year over year, month over month, does any of that matter? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't matter. So what we have to look at is, where is inventory? What historically is normal inventory? And are we even there yet? And I can tell you, we're not. We could have another double, and we still wouldn't be there. So we've got quite a ways to go before inventory is overwhelming. Just ask home buyers who are looking out there. If you have anyone who's picky, they're still having trouble finding something, just finding something to be interested in. Not like getting a contract, except like finding something to get interested in. Here's a couple data points I do want to look at, though. And this does tell the story, and I have experienced this. So price per square foot, we always look at that. Still increasing, you know, peel back a little bit in the last week from 710 to 704, but still at the highest point, you know, that it's been at all year, besides last week. So if you take out last week, we were 710, 704 this week, still at the highest point that it's been all year, except for a week ago. And so that's very strong. Look at the average days on market. That is also trickling lower. Okay, and now down to 21 days. 3.5 months ago, this was at 37. So you're seeing that's trickling down, which means that, and this is a very good sign, that sellers are becoming quickly aware of the fact that they may not get a bidding war for sure on their home. And they're being smart about taking offers. For example, we got one accepted this week. It was like old school. Listed for $715. We offered $700. They came back in the middle, $707.5. We shook hands, and it's a done deal. That's it. Done. That's an amazing way to get real estate deals done. Boom. There you go. Let's go. Let's freaking go. This is good for buyers. Look at the price decreases. Okay. 3.5 months ago, we're at 14.5% of properties with a price decrease. We're at 22% now. You're seeing more price decreases. Again, good for buyers. This is good. This is good. Inventory is slowly creeping up, right? We talked about that. But is it at a level where it's a problem? No. Look at the median rent. I don't like this graphic anymore because of how I don't really use it, but $3,800. You'd be hard pressed to find a house for $3,800. I can tell you that for sure. You can find stuff to rent for $3,800, but you aren't going to get a house for $3,800 unless you know somebody or somebody's a family member or they owe you something for whatever reason. So I look at all this stuff and I go, this is good for buyers. Inventory is still not at a point where you can go, oh, wow, there's so many homes. We have so much to choose from. It's not even close to that. It's just enough inventory now that even with weakened demand has weakened. Interest rates going up has weakened demand. Even with that, you're still having a market that's moving well, and it's just become a more normalized market where, listing agents need to present their properties well. Sellers can't get away with some of the things they were been able to get away with in the last couple of years. Sellers are going to have to listen to their agents more. Sellers, listen to your agent. Don't hire them if you're not going to listen to them. What are you doing? Listen to them. You're going to need to listen to them now, because when they tell you, yeah, you should probably do it this way, remember that they also aren't trying to rock the boat. So take the hint. Take the hint. Do it the way they're telling you to do it. Don't get stuck out there with a stale listing. I've seen a few people lately who've been in escrow on other homes that they're purchasing and have had buyers fall out, and they've had to sort of fire sale their homes. So there might be some comp bombs incoming. It's possible. Could be on the way. And that will rattle things up a little bit. So buyers, take advantage. If you see a comp bomb, know that. Use it. Use it. Use it when you make your offer. Buyers agents, it's not a bad idea if you see those too. When you look at comps, send the comps you're using in when you make your offer. Give the listing agent something to show the seller. Hey, they're trying to be reasonable here. This is what they're offering. There's not as many multiple offer situations, so take advantage of it. Formation today, we are actually at a 0 basis point. So, they issued a lock alert today, and I just kind of yawned,
It is your destiny.
I'm sorry. I mean, look, Barry and Dan Abib, the guys who run NBS Highway, they're amazing. And, they're trying to help people intraday with these things. But what I've been saying. What we're looking for here, and you've been watching it play out for some time now. We've got a really nice looking, almost a textbook, head and shoulders pattern that's in place, and it's setting up. And now we just need to see the other shoulder. Now, whether this comes up here a little bit like I predicted and kind of comes down here and then goes back up, and then we don't know exactly where that right shoulder is going to be, but probably somewhere around this same area of support down here, mirroring over here. Remember, when mortgage bonds go higher, rates go lower. So I'm kind of sitting here expecting rates to go a little bit lower. I am. It's just crazy. It's crazy, given all the inflation and everything that we're up against. But it looks like the bottom is in. It could be wrong. It could be a false front. It could be the bond bully setting everybody up. Who knows? But it looks good. And we've seen rates drop. And we're going to pull rates here in a second. I want to pull rates because I want you to have something tangible to pass along and something to think about. But just note that we definitely have a situation here where rates are much better than what people think they are. And it's the first time we've had that in a while, because for quite some time now, rates have actually been worse than people expected. Like, people would call and get pre-approved, like, what are rates now? Like 3.75? We're like 5. Those were the conversations we were having to have. Now people are like, oh yeah, I've heard rates are like 6%. Like, no, 5.25. So that is helpful. That is a good thing. By the way, we're live right now. If you want to say what's up, feel free to do so. You have questions, you have a scenario you want me to pull, I'm happy to do that as well. So we're going to take a look at rates. We're going to try to take a look at rates. Here's another article in the meantime. This is something that's coming up a lot. I'm getting a lot of calls for people who want to refi or they want to cash out. You can do, and we do second mortgages. We do HELOCs. We can do all that stuff. Sometimes it makes sense to do one or the other depending upon what you're going to do with the money. If you want to access your equity, you can do it and do whatever you want with it. You can buy the property with it. You can consolidate debt. You can invest in whatever. But obviously, you want to have a plan. You don't want to just go take the money out without a plan. So if you're thinking about doing this, contact me. Let me know what you're thinking. Let's come up with the best solution. Let's make sure that it makes sense. Okay, let's make sure it makes sense, numbers-wise and everything, before you do anything. Okay, because you can see they're pumping this stuff. I'm seeing more and more advertorial stuff like this for banks, and they're going to continue their advertising one way or the other. They don't care. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with VA, and we're just going to do a simple scenario for VA, FHA, conventional. We're going to do conforming balance. Okay, so here's VA first. Good credit, 780 credit. We're going to do detached. And we're going to do no lender fees. Very important. Someone sent me a, oh, you know what? I should pull that up. You know what? I will. I'm going to post a picture of it. Someone sent me a loan estimate yesterday. I don't even know how they found me, to be honest with you. Probably through YouTube or something. But they emailed me and they're like, hey, Derek, what do you think of this? And they sent me the loan estimate. And I looked at it, and they were being charged like $15,000 or $16,000 of just bullshit points.
Check, please.
Just crap. There's also another person this week. That's two, actually. This one was a VA cash out. That was a conventional cash out. This was a VA cash out. They sent me the same thing. It was like 15 grand. They're being charged in points. And these are the type of borrowers who aren't very paperwork savvy, and they would have totally gone for it. So as you can see here, back into the low fours. We're back, baby. We're back. Here we are in the low fours. PennyMax in there, JMax in there, Flagstar's in there, UWM is close. UWM is actually running a price match model right now up to 40 basis points, so they're getting a lot of business from us. They just have the best operations, and if they're price matching, we're down. So here, 4 1/4 with a nice $2,500 lender credit. I'll take that in a bag of chips. And here's what's really cool. One of the things I've noticed about Flagstar, this is VA, by the way. We're looking at conforming balance. 4.75, look at this. They are paying for 4.75 right now. You get a 4.75 with Flagstar, and they will pay you. That's $12,000 towards closing costs. Can you see that? Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. I don't know if that'll help or not. Yeah, just doesn't quite scale. But look at that. 12 Jeepers. 12 and a half. So no lender fees, no points. Take a 4.75 with good credit, and you get 12 and a half Jeeps towards your closing costs. It's probably more than you need. But anyway, that's something that I've noticed with them for lender credits for people who don't want to pay closing costs. When you're buying VA, you don't have to. It's just as easy to not, although you do need to have earnest money deposit. Okay, so now let's do conventional. Now with conventional and FHA, we're going to do the minimum down payment. Okay, just minimum down payment. You can get better rates than this if you're putting 25% down or 30 or 40 or 50% down. You can get better rates than this. But I would try to keep this realistic. I can't put every scenario in there. I know people want me to do all these different scenarios. But P.S., that's what this is for. Like if you want a specific scenario, just email me, text me, this 4 pieces of information right here. Do that, and I'll send you your specific scenario. But I can't pull, tons of different specific scenarios for these videos because it would just take forever. All right, take a look at this one. Rates are in. And look at that, 4.75 is on the table. And we got several banks there poking around at 4.75. Ameris is in there. These guys are good. 4.75, conforming. Conforming balance conventional. How about that? So seeing the 4s again in certain situations. Obviously, this is, a specific scenario, certain loan amount and everything. But that's possible. Look at that. That's possible. High 4s is back in the game for the right scenario, which is pretty cool because low 5s, and realistically, low 5s is probably where most people are going to fit with conventional. That's what I've been saying. And I'll stick to that. It's 5 1/4. If you're in a good situation with conventional, that's much more reasonable to expect right now. But if in the perfect situation with the perfect bank, you can get high 4s. So that ain't too shabby. Now let's look at FHA. And with FHA, this is a great market for FHA buyers too. And we've been talking about VA, get back out there. VA, this is the time. This is the time to shine, because you're able right here to get offers accepted. You're able to get seller credits. Like, those things are happening again. And it's just been awesome watching it. I've been watching some really good veteran realtors who work with a lot of VA clients just absolutely thrash right now. And they're winning big for their clients. Winning big, not only on the negotiations up front, but requests for repairs too. So take advantage. Here's FHA, which we've been tracking always a little bit lower than VA, just like an eighth lower than VA numbers. And that's still the case here. As you can see, 4 1/8 versus the 4 1/4 we had on VA. This is FHA. And look at that, 4 1/8. And you get you $295. Go to Old Navy on us. But that's not too bad. So low fours, let's summarize it like this. Let's call it low fours for VA and FHA is back on the table. Right around 5, low to low 5s for conventional is also back on the table. Jumbo we didn't do today, but I will talk more about jumbo in the future. There's actually a lot of jumbo activity happening in Riverside County now because there's no high balance limit. And so there's a bunch of people in Riverside County that are having to do jumbos. And the main understanding that I want you to gain from this video is that the data points you're going to hear in the media, and even just from people who are reposting things or people who are just getting stats from their local statistician or whoever they use, you're going to hear big percentage jumps, year-over-year inventory, some even month-over-month, but particularly these year-over-year numbers. But just got to remember, what's the basis for that calculation? Last year, numbers were so low that, of course, any amount higher is going to look like a big number on the percentage scale. And the story that we were talking about here was talking about 9%. Well, 9% isn't that much. If there were 100 homes for sale in a neighborhood and now there's 109, is that really a big difference? It's really not. It's really not, especially from the low basis that we're working from. So know the truth. Pay attention, subscribe to this channel if you want to be kept in the loop. If you want someone to make silly sounds and try to have fun at least a couple times a week, I'm your guy. All right. And if you want to get a quote, submit your scenario. Let me help you save money. If you know someone who's getting a loan, tell them to send me their loan estimate. Send me your loan estimate. Send it. Just let's check, because there's a very good chance in this market that you're paying too much. If you're getting a good deal, I'll tell you. I'll be the first one to tell you, this is a good deal. You need to take it. Guy told me the other day, he said, hey, this person quoted me this rate. I said, you better lock it right away. Lock it right now. What are you doing? He's like, oh, I don't know. Lock it. Does it cost you anything to lock it? Does it cost you anything to break the lock? Lock it. What are you doing? Do it. It doesn't mean that you can't still talk to me. It doesn't mean that we can't still, get you a better deal in the end. But for now, if you've got that rate on the table, take it. I will shoot you straight. That I guarantee you. Promise you. So, but just make sure you don't get ripped off, because there's people out there trying to rip people off right now. I'll be very honest with you. It happens all the time. Right now, it's bad. It's bad. I'm going to post a couple pictures of documents that I've reviewed recently. And yeah, it's ugly. Lots of points out there. Lots of points. And you don't have to pay points. And in fact, in this market right now, you shouldn't pay points. And the reason that you shouldn't pay points is because there's going to very likely, there's a very good chance you'll have a chance to refi in a year or two. And every time there's a refi boom, and I mean every time there's a refi boom, I'm refinancing people who got a rate that they paid points for, and now they're getting a better rate, not paying any points. And so that money is just wasted. It's thrown into the toilet, and that sucks. Trying to save money, not waste it. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Have an amazing day. I'll be here if you need me. Call, text, send me an email if you want to buy or refi. Share this with your friends. Let's help make them smarter than everyone else. I'll see you soon.